Dragon Turtle. Welcome back to Heroes and Whiskey. We are 3D printing our way through the D&D Monster Manual. We are transitioning our way finally back out of dragons into something normal monster size. And today we have monster number 74, the Dragon Turtle. So if you're watching in real time, with one or two exceptions, we haven't printed a monster that isn't a demon, a devil, or a dragon in 7 months. So I'm really looking forward to a little less dramatic stretch here. And I almost didn't print this Dragon Turtle because the Monster Manual shows this giant turtle attacking a ship, and there was no way that I was printing something that big. But just as I was wrapping up the dragons, Lord of the Print came out with a turtle-themed monthly release, including this guy, and so out he came. It's a little bit of a culture shock coming out of the dragons. They all had 100mm bases, and they were just huge. They were like up to 2 feet across. But this guy is also 100mm, and he's just very large. Typically, the gargantuans are just really over the top in terms of size, but this guy is just big. Now, like just about every other model from Lord of the Print, he looks great, and I really appreciate that he has this dynamic attacking style. But honestly, I wasn't really fair to the other creators here. I grabbed this guy because he was literally in the right place at the right time, but it turns out that there are a bunch of other really nice dragon turtles on my mini factory. There's this one from Mammoth Factory that really looks great. There's this one from Imp3Desian. I have no idea if I'm saying that correctly, and it actually says that it has 150mm base. There's this one from Claymore Miniatures that looks insane, and I probably would have gone in this direction if I wasn't rushing. And then there's this one from DM Stash that has a 250mm base, and it has a whole orc fortress on top of it, so there are a ton of great options to choose from if you've got a seafaring campaign. Now, dragon turtles plunder ships for treasure, then they regurgitate it back in their lairs. I think it would make a great optional side quest for a party if they're traveling by ship. Maybe they get attacked by a dragon turtle, they're left floating in the wreckage, and they have to decide if they want to go to the dragon turtle's lair for some plundering of their own. And I just love this description from the manual of how it attacks with its deadly jaws, steaming breath, and crushing tail. In terms of how this guy printed, as I have with my other 100mm bases, I printed that FDM, and there are some telltale layer lines in the base. The rest of it is all printed in resin, and there were no printing issues, despite the fact that the body is quite large. This was honestly, it was a rare large print where the seams are almost non-existent. You can see this one for the neck right here, kind of in the middle on this side, but then on the other side, I mean, it's almost invisible, which is just fantastic. I did get this one awkward gap here on the tail, but otherwise the seams for all of the different pieces are nearly flawless. So you can see tiny wrinkles and tiny scales right here on the neck, and it's obviously got this bony barnacled shell. If I was using this in a game, I would be tempted to print it honestly twice as large, and I think the quality would definitely still be there. In terms of size, he is quite large, but certainly still playable on a table. You can see its head is only about 15 to 18 feet off the table, so it's big, but it's not necessarily overwhelming. I don't know that I would elevate this guy past mid-level boss battle status, at least at this size. In terms of resources, it cost $23 and took me exactly 17 hours for the base and the body, which brings us to $753 and nearly 36 days of total print time. So if you have an ocean segment of your campaign and are looking for a dragon turtle, there are a bunch of great options and potentially some that are quite large. But this one from Lord of the Print is great if you need one that's a little more compact. Next up, we have one of the most disturbing monsters in all of the manual, the Drider.